Good morning. The reason I look so tired is because it's 8 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday and that's far too early. I'm going to RHP for our away day and we're going to go and have a look around some of our development projects. So it should be quite fun if I wake up.
Welcome to another episode of Toby Stupid Vlog.
Here we are in sunny Teddington, just walking through because I'm a bit early. But if you know someone around Teddington called Joel, can you explain to me what's so bad about him? He's clearly not popular.
Down on the other side, and you know.
So this is a rental property, brick box in New Malden.
That's very nice.
That'd be nice. There's no doubt about it. Right, you get there. All right.
This is the 4th floor, 3-bed.
That's a shame you couldn't use it though.
You can't, because at Langton Park, we had the exact same.
That was fun, wasn't it? You got to see around at least one of our developments in New Malden, and really impressive actually, especially the shared ownership on the top floor. Really, really nice. Anyway, the weather's much better than I thought, so I might try and go outside, at least for a bit. So it's been a much more relaxing day today. I say much more relaxing. I mean, yesterday I basically looked at new houses and then sat around. This morning, what we've done so far is sit around. We're going out for dinner. A dinner? Brain not fully working. We're going out for Sunday lunch. And we've just sat and watched the Grand Prix, and the weather's actually quite mild, so it's quite pleasant outside. So we're making the most of it. But I mean, compared to, say, the last couple of weekends, I suppose it has been intensely relaxed. We haven't gone on holiday, we haven't walked 27.5 miles. You know, it's probably well needed, to be honest, and it's only 3.5 weeks till we go on holiday again. Happy Monday, in so much as it's not raining and it's supposed to be. It is very miserable out though, but you know, it's just an opportunity to go and buy lots of vegetables and feel better about oneself. Pack myself full of vitamins. So this week's a bit of an unknown. I'm supposed to be going to my appraisal on Wednesday because it got delayed from last week. And then who knows beyond that. And I'm hoping to do a bit more swimming, possibly tomorrow. Or we're going to the cinema tomorrow evening to finally see Guardians of the Galaxy like 6 months after it came out. Maybe Wednesday morning I might do some swimming. Just to, you know, it's about 3 weeks till we go on holiday, which is going to be all swimming. So I'd like it not to be incredibly difficult because I haven't done any upper body exercise for a year. Believe it or not, the weather's actually improving, and in fact it will be quite nice in the next couple of days, and by the weekend 20 degrees. I'm not sure I believe it either, but that's what I'm told reliably, so we'll have to wait and see. Which means I can leave the flat and not get rained on. Very nice. And we are going to the cinema this evening, as I think I mentioned, because we haven't actually done anything in the evening for quite some time now, so it'd be nice to actually, you know, get out of the house and go somewhere. It's also worth noting that the film Good People has just come out in the States and is shortly coming out in the United Kingdom, which features this very house next to mine, my neighbour's driveway in fact. So if you get a chance, go and see it for more shots like this. Very exciting, I think you'll agree. Also, check out this field of mushrooms that's just suddenly appeared. Hello there, this is probably worthy of comment simply because it's sparked a very long Twitter conversation I'm just having about these compact discs. Do you remember those? You probably don't. The idea that you could store 80 minutes of music on something the same size as a small quiche is just mind-blowing to me as to how dumb it is. Obviously at the time it wasn't. It was very clever because, you know, before that 12-inch LP was very large, and you know, it's a definite improvement on that medium. But compared to, say, the device I'm recording this on, my phone, which has about 10,000 songs on, and then access to the internet that has all of the rest, CDs are really bulky. And not just that, if you just do what I tried to do, which is I had a tune in my head and I then had to find it. And if I knew I owned it on a compact disc, which was the real problem. If I'd just been on the internet, I would have just Googled a couple of keywords. But I figured, why not try the CD method? It took 20 minutes. I had to go through my old CD collection. When I finally found the CD I knew it was on, I then had to put the CD in, 2 CDs actually, go through them track by track, skip, play, skip, wait as laser moves, iTunes catches up, and carry on, hold down skip to move through record. Just dumbfoundingly stupid. I can't get over how we ever put up with that nonsense. And it takes up an enormous amount of space in your house as opposed to your phone. So yeah, I don't know what you think, but to me, CDs are they feel very, very old now. As do DVDs, it just feels like a real waste of time and space and effort. And sure, they had their day, but right now, I can't abide them anymore. That's my last experiment with a compact disc, probably in this lifetime, at least deliberately. So yeah, let me know what you think. If you still love CDs like Lindsay, who I'm talking to, then feel free to leave a comment telling me I'm an idiot, and I will accept that. Speaking of anachronistic things, cinema multiplexes. They look like they're stuck about 20 years ago, and they've never quite made it into the 21st century. I mean, the whole cinema experience, I'm here because I like to see things early, but other than that, it's a bit weird, isn't it? A bit expensive. So yesterday we became the very last people on the planet to go and see Guardians of the Galaxy in the cinema. It's very good, actually. I didn't know what to expect, really. Part of the Marvel Universe, didn't really know. It's great fun. Chris Pratt is amazing. His career is going from strength to strength. I'd put him in everything, to be honest. But I would say go and watch it, but it's not out anymore, so, wait for it on demand or whatever. And then go and see it in the comfort of your own home. Yes, it's my appraisal later today, RHP. That should be always interesting. But in the meantime, I've got to cook a big chili con carne. Hello there. I just found something quite interesting on the Twitters, which you might want to have a look at. If I remember, I will post the link below. Toby, post the damn link in the description. It is BBC Earth, I think it is, which has done a little review which shows how the world has changed since you were born. So you put in your date of birth and what have you, and it shows you the differences. Now, some of the alarming differences, in particular in relation to my age, 34 and a half, the sea level, the average sea level has gone up 10 centimetres, which is quite substantial. That's quite a large amount in that short period of time. And the Earth as a whole, the average temperature has gone up by 0.4 degrees centigrade, which is also unbelievably high. Slightly worrying. And anyone who doesn't believe in climate change, maybe if you pulled your head out of your buttocks, then you might be aware of these slightly terrifying things that are going on now. Stop kidding yourself that you're not the problem. You are the problem. Anyway, moving on to another rant. It occurs to me that I managed to go like 4 or 5 days without a single rant, and now we get 2 in a row. It's like buses and what have you. Anyway, the post office. It's terrible. Not the actual offices themselves, although they tend to be staffed by people who don't want to be there and are quite rude, in my experience. But the actual Royal Mail as a whole, as a sort of terrible delivery service. And it's like, Royal Mail is fast becoming the worst and slowest courier company, because that's all they do is deliver parcels nowadays. And they're fast, they're fast becoming pointless. I mean, the only thing that's useful about them is the convenience of having a post box at the end of your road. But if you're sending parcels, they might not actually fit in the post box, and therefore that removes all the useful aspects, and then you have to deal with the post office, which, as I might have mentioned, so it slightly bugs me, this whole issue of post office is undervalued. Post office is not undervalued. The post office is overvalued. It's just that people are not looking long term. People are looking now. What is the value of it now? And most of the value that people have in it now is based upon their experience of it up to this point. not them looking at how it's going to be useful in 35 years' time. There's no long-term view of it. So in my personal opinion, the post office is massively overvalued, because ultimately it's going to have to compete with couriers, because that's the only service it will perform, and it's not doing a very good job of that. So no more whinging about how the taxpayer has lost money on the post office deal. The taxpayer has only lost money in the very short term. In the long term, they'll be glad not to have such a liability on their books. One last thing on a much happier note. Obviously, the Formula 1 Constructors Championship was wrapped up and during the last race that Hamilton won in Russia, although I have big issues with Formula 1 being in Russia, but that beside, that meant that Mercedes won the Formula 1 Constructors Championship for the first time ever, actually, because the last time they would have won it would have been 1955, but there wasn't a Constructors Championship, back when Sterling Moss and Fangio were driving for them, so back in the era that my granddad used to watch Formula 1. But I have to say that it all makes my jacket rather more prophetic than it would have otherwise been. Look at that, very proud. You see, when I was trying to work out which team, if any, I should support at the end of last year, and Mercedes won a couple of Grand Prix and they had Hamilton, but they were looking like a second-tier team really. But I thought, you know what, let's go all German on this, because my granddad was a German engineer, and this seems to have worked out rather well, to be honest. And now I can wear this jacket around and look like I knew what was going on all along. What are you doing now? Oh, good kick. Hello, happy Friday. So you saw a very small amount of Walter yesterday throwing stuff into a puddle and then splashing in it. He's at the age where that's acceptable. It's not that you like it more or less at any particular age, it's at a certain age you can get away with it, and then it stops being socially acceptable, which is a real problem. Well, for me anyway. Anyway, he wasn't actually feeling too well yesterday, so he was a bit grouchy and what have you, so I'm not sure whether we'll actually see him tomorrow. We're supposed to be going to my uncle's tomorrow in Farnborough en famille as a large group, and it was Anna's birthday yesterday, but obviously she was at work, so didn't get a chance to do anything, so we sort of combined the two. So when I get home, I've got to make another Flammkuchen and some mashed potato for tomorrow, not together obviously, and yes. And because it was Anna's birthday this week, I'm currently venturing out to get her a present. So this is my Friday afternoon walk. It's very pleasant actually. As the sun sets over River Thames in Mortlake, it's time for part X in an infinite part series called Why I Like Shopping in Waitrose, which is obviously the most middle class segment ever brought to you by anybody on the internet. Talked about this before, that's why part X. X is an integer greater than 1. Now, a couple of years ago, one of my tweets was published and shown on TV and what have you, about when Waitrose did the I like Waitrose because hashtag, and I posted something quite silly. But anyway, there's reality behind it. And today is a good example of why Waitrose is so great. So first time, went in there for literally only 3 minutes today. And within the first 30 seconds I overheard a conversation between two sort of 10-year-old boys, but one of them said to the other one, "My mum bought 2 houses this morning and I thought that was a bit much." Amazing. And secondly, I was served by, today, shop assistant Hermione. Yes, that actually happened. Fantastic. Oh, and a woman walking a corgi. So I'll leave it this week with me wandering along the towpath home. Will I get home? Will there be another vlog? If you've seen this one, yes, because unless a stranger found it and uploaded it to my channel, I'm still alive. So thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this nonsense, click subscribe. You can do that by pressing that one there, or the one below. And yes, I will see you next week.